Ever pondered how the aftermath of World War I shaped our world today? This monumental event altered the course of history, its ripples felt in every corner of the globe. From political upheavals to economic turmoil, from the rise of totalitarian ideologies to the onset of another world war, the repercussions of WWII have left an indelible mark on our present. So let's dive into this fascinating topic and join us as we journey through history to unravel the consequences of World War I. The Treaty of Versailles, a peace document signed in 1919, marked the end of the Great War. This treaty, however, was far from an assurance of long-lasting peace. Its terms were severe, particularly for Germany, the primary instigator of the war. Germany was held responsible for all the war damage and was saddled with heavy reparations, crippling its economy and stirring national resentment. But the changes weren't just economic. The political landscape of Europe and the Middle East saw dramatic shifts. Borders were redrawn, and new countries emerged from the ashes of fallen empires. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires were dismantled, leading to the creation of several independent nations. In the Middle East, the Sykes-Picot Agreement between Britain and France led to arbitrary divisions, disregarding cultural and tribal boundaries. This decision has had lasting consequences, sparking conflicts that continue to this day. These changes, while intended to maintain peace, actually sowed seeds of resentment and instability. The harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, the economic hardship, and the redrawn borders stirred nationalistic fervor in many nations. Discontent was brewing, and the stage was set for further conflict. So the seeds of discontent were sown, setting the stage for future conflicts. The aftermath of World War I was not a period of peace, but rather a turbulent time that would eventually spiral into another global conflict, World War II. The war's end didn't spell relief for the global economy. Quite the contrary. The conclusion of World War I marked the beginning of an era filled with economic struggles. The Treaty of Versailles, which officially ended the war, imposed hefty war reparations on Germany. Unable to make payments, Germany faced severe economic hardship, leading to hyperinflation and widespread unemployment. But the economic consequences of the war weren't confined to Germany. The war had been financed through heavy borrowing, leaving many nations in significant debt. The cost of war had drained the economies of Britain, France, and Italy, leading to a period of economic stagnation. Furthermore, the United States, which emerged from the war as a leading global economic power, faced its own set of challenges. The Roaring Twenties, a period of prosperity and cultural dynamism, was followed by the Great Depression, the most severe and prolonged economic downturn of the 20th century. The stock market crash of 1929 triggered a decade-long economic depression, affecting not just the United States, but having ripple effects across the globe. As nations grappled with economic struggles, they also faced political instability, social unrest, and a growing sense of resentment and disillusionment among their populations. The economic instability following World War I set the stage for a new wave of ideological movements and political changes. Economic instability, as we'll see, played a crucial role in shaping the world's future. Economic hardship often breeds extremism, and the interwar period was no exception. The devastating aftermath of World War I created a fertile breeding ground for radical ideologies. A sense of disillusionment and resentment permeated societies, especially those shouldering the heavy burden of war reparations. This potent mix of economic distress and national humiliation made many susceptible to the allure of strong, charismatic leaders promising to restore their nation's pride and prosperity. In Germany, this gave rise to Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler capitalized on the public's anger towards the Treaty of Versailles and fear of communism. His promises of reclaiming Germany's lost territories and rebuilding its economy resonated with many. Thus, the seeds of fascism were sown. Meanwhile, in Italy, Benito Mussolini and his fascist party were gaining ground. Mussolini, too, exploited the economic hardship and social unrest, presenting himself as the nation's savior. He promised to restore Italy to its former Roman glory, a vision that appealed to those disillusioned by the perceived weakness of liberal democracy. Both Hitler and Mussolini championed totalitarian regimes where the state had absolute control over every aspect of life. These regimes were marked by aggressive nationalism, militarism, and a complete disregard for individual rights. The rise of such ideologies was not confined to Germany and Italy, however. Similar authoritarian regimes sprouted across Europe, from Spain under Franco to the Soviet Union under Stalin. These ideologies would soon plunge the world into another destructive war. The stage was set, the actors ready, and the world unaware of the impending sequel to the Great War. As the 1920s and 30s rolled on, the world was heading towards a new, more devastating conflict. The bitter seeds sown by the Treaty of Versailles had taken root, and resentment in nations like Germany and Italy was growing. The rise of totalitarian regimes and ideologies such as fascism fed on this resentment, further destabilizing the global stage. In Germany, the Weimar Republic's fragile democracy crumbled under the weight of economic depression and political extremism, allowing Adolf Hitler and his National Socialist German Workers' Party to seize power. Hitler's aggressive foreign policies and expansionist ideology were clear indicators of the storm to come. Meanwhile, in the East, Japan was also on the path of militaristic expansion, initiating a full-scale invasion of China in 1937. However, the real prelude to the Second World War was marked by two pivotal events: the Munich Agreement of 1938 and the subsequent invasion of Poland in 1939. The Munich Agreement, signed by Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, and France, was a failed attempt at appeasement, allowing Germany to annex the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia inhabited by ethnic Germans. Less than a year later, Hitler's forces invaded Poland, violating the agreement and prompting Britain and France to declare war on Germany. World War II, a horrific encore, was now on the horizon. But wars aren't just about politics and economics. They leave deep scars on societies and spur technological changes. World War I was no exception. It triggered profound societal shifts, particularly in the role of women. As men marched off to the trenches, women stepped into roles previously reserved for their male counterparts. They became factory workers, nurses, even bus drivers. This shift not only kept the home front running smoothly, but also laid the groundwork for the women's rights movement that would gain momentum in the decades to come. The war was also a catalyst for technological advancements. It saw the rise of new warfare technologies like tanks and airplanes. These innovations, initially developed for destruction, would later find peaceful applications, revolutionizing transport and industry in the post-war years. But the war's impact wasn't just societal and technological. It was deeply psychological. The unprecedented scale of devastation and loss left lasting mental scars on soldiers and civilians alike. This led to a greater understanding and recognition of psychological trauma, with terms like shell shock entering the public lexicon for the first time. In essence, the aftermath of World War I touched every corner of society, from the roles we play, to the technologies we use, to our understanding of the human mind. The echoes of WWI resonated in every facet of life. The tremors of the Great War rippled through the decades, shaping the world as we know it. In the aftermath, the world leaders sought to create a new order, a platform for peace and diplomacy to prevent another global conflict. This led to the formation of the League of Nations in 1920. The League aimed to foster international cooperation and maintain global peace. However, it faced various challenges, including the non-participation of some major powers and the inability to prevent the aggression of its members, leading to its eventual downfall. Yet, the idea of a global peacekeeping body lived on. In the ashes of the Second World War, the United Nations was born, carrying forward the torch of the League's original mission. The UN, with its broader membership and stronger framework, sought to address the shortcomings of its predecessor, serving as a platform for negotiation and a vehicle for the promotion of human rights, economic development, and international law. The aftermath of the First World War also influenced the way countries interacted on the global stage. It marked the beginning of a new era of international relations, where diplomacy and negotiation took center stage. It set the foundation for global governance, shaping the principles and norms that guide international relations today. The aftermath of WWI, thus, paved the way for the world order as we know it today. As we walk away from the ruins of the Great War, we carry with us crucial lessons. We've journeyed through the Treaty of Versailles, political shifts and economic aftershocks. We've witnessed the rise of totalitarianism, the prelude to another world war, and the societal and technological transformations. Lastly, we've seen how the aftermath sculpted our modern world and international relations, These are the indelible imprints left by World War I on our history. Remember, history often repeats itself, but each time is a fresh lesson for those willing to learn.